loves, welcome back. Today's video is all about being a greener cook and having a more sustainable kitchen. Over the years, I've been moving towards having a more sustainable home, and I think the kitchen is a great place to start. Having a sustainable home means having a more environmentally friendly home with less wastage. We are starting with the kitchen because it usually has the most potential for being a high waste space. Not only does most food come in a ton of plastic and paper packaging, but oftentimes there is a lot of hidden food wastage. And besides being an environmental issue, much of this waste also translates into a financial loss. So whether you're ready for a complete appliance overhaul or looking for easier ways to be less wasteful, I'm sharing some tips for a sustainable kitchen with you today. I do not claim to be 100% zero waste, but we are trying, and I hope that you will try too. One of the first things that you want to ponder over are your appliances, especially refrigerators and air conditioners. The older models definitely consumed more electricity than the recent technology, and refrigerators today save up to 25% of energy, as do air cons with inverters. But even if you aren't ready for a complete overhaul, there are a lot of smaller ways you can still make a big impact. Your goal of having a sustainable kitchen begins long before you bring your vegetables home. When you go shopping, avoid getting plastic bags, but instead use your own reusable bags. I carry a reusable shopping bag in my handbag, and I also have a couple more in the car. And we have been using this set of canvas trolley bags for a few years now. We take them whenever we go to the grocery store, and we save a lot of plastic in the process. They're also really convenient for organizing food in the trolley and when loading the car. I'll leave you a link to where you can get these in a description box below. In addition to these bags, you can also avoid getting vegetables and sundries pre-packed in disposable plastic. Instead of going to the supermarket and buying pre-packaged veggies, I prefer to go to the farmer's market. Everything there is laid out open for choice, and I take my own mesh bags along to avoid plastic wrappers. I've shown you these a bunch of times because I really stand by them. They've lasted me ages, they're washable and breathable, so the produce stays fresh, and it's also great for containing lots of smaller leafy vegetables together without becoming a mess. And the best part is that I'm able to put them away immediately in the fridge. To know more about these mesh bags, I will leave you a link in the video description box below as well. Similarly, when I go to do my sundries, I prefer to opt for the weigh on the spot, and I take my reusable silicone bags along so they don't pack my supplies in plastic. I've shown you these as well in my freezer video, and they are such a great product. My set of 20 must have saved me hundreds of disposable flimsy Ziploc bags, which always end up in the trash. Even at home, we avoid Ziplocks and use silicone bags wherever possible. I do not claim not to use Ziploc bags at all, but I certainly do minimize the usage. Now let's talk about the vegetables themselves. Try to use as much of the vegetable as you can. For example, coriander. Use the leaves for garnish, the stem for your dish, the roots to flavor homemade stock, as well as it makes an awesome tom yum. Likewise for veggies, tops, ends, and peels. Wash them as thoroughly as you can, boil them in a pot full of water to make a homemade stock. If you do eat meat, then the scraps and bones can also be added to make a nutrient-rich, flavorful stock. Now my next tip is to freeze things. Make the freezer your best friend. Extra veggies bought in bulk to reduce cost can easily be frozen to last longer. Blanch veggies such as peas, carrots, cauliflower, just for a few minutes, and then freeze them individually on a baking sheet. After about 2 hours, collect all the veggies and put them in for future use in silicone bags. Frozen correctly, fresh produce actually maintains all its nutrition. This way you can buy things in season and it will last you for months. And you can avoid spoilage and wastage. Alternatively, keep your veggies aside. You can use even overripe fruits for this. Blend and use all your scraps and use it as a natural fertilizer for your plants. You know, I have just taken on gardening. I'm learning how to do some gardening. So I find that having fertilized the plants with this has been a tremendous boost for my plants. Now, just about any part of the veggie can be used as fertilizer, including onion and garlic peels and also eggshells. And remember that finely crushed eggshells added to meals are also great supplements for dogs. Another thing that I've been doing for some time is refilling my spice bottles. I do like nice spice bottles and jars for my spices and condiments, but I definitely do not like paying repeatedly for the bottles, which are perfectly reusable. So what I do is I buy bigger packets and then refill my bottles. Another tip is that whenever possible, you can make your own spices. Roast the seeds until they're aromatic and then use a dry grinder to get a fragrant and pure spice ready to be added to your dishes. Any extra can be stored in the freezer, keeping it fresh for future use. I have been keeping spices in the freezer for a long, long time, I would say 30 years. And let me tell you, they literally never go bad. All you need to do is bring them back to room temperature or heat them a little bit, and they're fragrant all over again. Similarly, when it comes to herbs, we are usually unable to finish the entire bunch. So a good way to keep them is to chop or blend them, drop them into ice cube trays, and top each of the herbs with some olive or coconut oil. The next time you need fresh herbs, you won't need to rush out. Another task that I make it a conscious effort to do, or rather not to do, is using paper towels. I have them, I do use them, mostly to absorb oil from fried food, but when possible, I use cloth kitchen towels. Pressing the water out of tofu, for one thing, can easily be done with a cloth towel, just as it could be done with a paper towel. My next tip is to forego those disposable plastic Tupperware. Glass containers are rather heavy, but if you can manage, then I highly recommend storing leftovers or food cooked in a double batch in glass containers with snug lids. Furthermore, you can also freeze large amounts of leftovers, which you can use for another meal a few days later. But if you're more comfortable with plastic, there are lots of great plastic container options, like this set of Rubbermaid containers. They are great quality, durable, and microwave safe. And to further avoid disposable containers, you keep a batch of inexpensive containers such as these. IKEA has some of these, and you can also use containers from Tupperware or other brands that have incomplete sets to pack food for friends after a party. And maybe if you've made your signature cookies, you can use these containers to distribute them to friends and family. So no more disposable containers. And who knows, after taking a large circle, these containers might even come back to you. And my last tip for you is that if you're willing to give gardening a shot, try growing some vegetables and fruit at home. We have a side yard filled with convolvulus, cucumber, tomatoes, and cabbage. We did have radishes, but our friendly neighborhood squirrel had a small feast of his own, leaving none for us. And then there is nothing like lowering your carbon footprints than growing your own produce. It's organic, fresh, and from garden to table in a matter of minutes. So my loves, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. These are my 10 favorite ways to do my part to avoid wastage and moving towards an eco-friendly kitchen. If you have any further ideas to share, please let me know in the comments below. I always look forward to interacting with all of you. I hope you have gotten some ideas from this video to enforce in your own kitchen. Thank you all for watching, and until the next video, this is Raveena saying happy homemaking.